And it's Ken Kreitzer at Iona College on a special day, the 75th anniversary of Iona basketball. And we have a chance to talk with an author who has done a nice book about the history of Iona basketball. And it's co-written by Peter Coleman and Jeff Castellano. It's called Maroon and Gold Legacy. And we have a chance to talk with one of the authors, Jeff Castellano. Jeff, good to see you. A special day in Iona basketball history today.
It sure is. It's great to have so many alumni back to celebrate the 75th anniversary, and it's really great to be here. It should be a good game.
Now tell us, how did you get interested in Iona basketball? You remember your first game?
I do remember my first game. I think it was a Manhattan game my freshman year, and my co-author Peter and I followed the team all 4 years when we were students here, and it's been a passion of ours. We were really excited about being able to do this book.
Now tell us, maybe hold up your book for us, and we can see that Maroon and Gold Legacy chronicling 75 years of Iona College sports. And what will readers find in your nice book?
They'll find a full history of all the varsity athletic programs, past and present. So men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, soccer teams, tennis teams, golf, etc. And it's a nice book that mixes in factual information as well as narratives and testimony from over 100 different people who were there, who lived it, who played in the games, as well as there's the final chapter of the book features 34 of the greatest athletes and coaches and administrators in the school's history athletically. So it's got something in there for everybody. It's got, like I said, 25 sports in total for the full history, and a nice mix of text and photographs, over 230 photographs. So I think it's got something for everybody.
Well, certainly Iona's had a very rich athletic history in basketball, so the flagship, but in so many other sports. Cross country in particular, Iona's had tremendous success. There's a long winning streak in the men's cross country championship in the MAC, and we had a woman who won the NCAA championship last year. Tell us a little bit about some of the moments in cross country.
Yeah, cross country is, it's really an amazing story, and you really have to go back to through this entire history, it's been a very competitive program. From the 50s and 60s, it was very competitive from a regional perspective, and then in the late 70s, it really kind of started getting kicked up a notch. Bill Martin came to the school. He was an Olympic trial finalist. The only reason he didn't go to the Olympics was because the Americans boycotted in 1980 because of this Cold War. But and then Mick Byrne came on as coach in the early to mid 80s. He started internationally recruiting, which it just took the program to another level. We've been competitive now on the NCAA stage for at least 10 years, finishing second twice in 07 and 08. We covered Leonard Career in here, which he was the first athlete in the school's history to win an NCAA tournament in 2011, or not tournament, NCAA championship in 2011 as a men's runner. So there's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of really good stuff on cross country.
And one of the other sports, certainly some of the swimming and diving sports have been very good, and water polo as well.
Yeah, no doubt. You look up and down. All the sports that have come and gone here at Iona College have been competitive, have had their share of success. The swim team won the MAC tournament in 1993, and I remember talking to Coach Cavatero, and he reflected on there was a big snowstorm, I believe, that year, and the bagpipers were in the pool, and just the amount of sound and the amount of energy in the place was really something special. And water polo is another fantastic program here. It's one of the most underrated, I think, sports at Iona. They've been NCAA ranked since the mid '80s. They've had a lot of really incredible athletes come through, and it's just they're a fun program, and there's a lot of stability with Brian Kelly as head coach.
And so many of us miss the football program that once thrived here. And we remember when the Mazzella Field was opened up, and a lot of good football games here in the 90s and so on. A little bit about football, I'm sure, is in your book.
Yeah, we cover football extensively. Football was a big part of the athletic heritage here at Iona College. The program was kicked off as a club program in 1965 by really a bunch of students that took the initiative to do it, and from that point on through maybe the mid to late 70s, existed as a very successful club program. They played at Memorial Field Stadium in Mount Vernon. easily drew 5 to 10,000 fans regularly against Fordham, against Manhattan, against a bunch of other local competitors. And then, as you alluded to, when Mazzella Field opened in 1989, for the first time the football program was on campus. Homecoming was huge here. They drew over 3,000 people for those homecoming bouts, and I mean, who can forget the bash against Duquesne? I believe it was 1999 when Ralph Saldiveri went bonkers. He was the star running back at that time. So anyway, so yeah, some real good stuff and a lot of history, a very, very rich history for football.
And of course, the flagship men's and women's basketball team. What are some of the moments that you highlight in your book, Maroon and Gold, the Maroon and Gold Legacy?
So when it comes to men's basketball, certainly the Jim Valvano era is front and center for us. I mean, as we did our research and we talked to people, it became very clear that was really, not only was that a very vibrant time in the history, but it was also the nexus of the program. I mean, it went from being really an also-ran regionally to being a legitimate national contender. I mean, to be able to build teams that could go to the NCAA tournament, and back in those days, it wasn't a 64-team format. It was only 40 teams, 36 teams, I believe, and then 40 teams. So to be among the top 35 Division I programs in the country, being at that time only 40 years old as a school, really says a lot. And then we talk a lot about the subsequent years, the Kennedy era. Pat Kennedy did a great job with Steve Burt Sr. here and Gary Springer Sr. But I mean, up and down. We talk about Richie Guerin being the first star and a future NBA Hall of Famer. We talk about Warren Isaac in the 60s. We talk about all the good teams in the late 90s and early 2000s that existed here. And then on the women's side, I mean, the program kicked off in 1973. It was a very successful club program and then has really thrived since the early 2000s. Tony Bozzella was hired here as the head coach, I believe, in 01 or 02. And he really took the program and made it into a legitimate MAC contender.
Certainly, D'Amico Martinez, Joy Adams have added so much to the recent Iona teams. Now, where can people, alumni, and others interested in your book find it and take home a copy?
So there's a number of different places you can go. We're here at the game obviously today. We'll be here again on the 28th against Canisius. So people feel free to come on campus and find us there, as well as reaching us via our Facebook page is a good way to reach us. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/MG Legacy. MG Legacy. You can contact us through there, and you can order a copy via mail if that's best for you.
Great. Well, we'll certainly highlight that Facebook page, and we congratulate you on this effort. Maroon and Gold Legacy, Iona Sports, 1940 to 2015, 75 years Iona College Sports by Peter Coleman and Jeff Castellano. Congratulations on the effort. We look forward to taking a long read of your fine book.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
That's great. This is Ken Kreitzer for Sons of the American Legion Radio at Iona College.